Well, I'm back to this pest repeller again. Really want it to work. So, from the last diagnosis, I said to myself, the existing plate that I took off from the repeller wasn't working. So I went and bought a bunch of replacement from Lazada. I bought about 30 pieces because I'm going to make my own repeller and make a sonar ultrasonic generator from maybe 5 sources. So I'll be driving 4 or 5 plates. Each plate will have a different frequency. So I went and replaced this with a brand new plate and reconnect it. Now when I did that, I thought it should work. Well, it turned out it doesn't work. So again, it's back to the circuitry, how it's driving the piezo. So, and I remember with piezo, because it's treated like a capacitor, it really needs an inductor in parallel, a solid core inductor, iron core, sorry, or ferrite core. And so I don't really have any core lying around, but I do remember seeing it when I took these apart, these lights. So I'm always ever curious how the LED is driven. So it turned out there's a switching power supply within the LED housing, and so it has an inductor. And so I took it out. So I paralleled the inductor with the plate, and as expected, it now makes sounds. So the repeller is powered up, and as you can see, you can hear the sound. That is actually what I expected to hear initially. And so now the 555, the output, one shouldn't put an inductor in on pin 3. So eventually this thing will burn. But anyway, I did it this way to demonstrate that the pest repeller do work if the circuitry has an additional inductor in parallel with the piezo. So I'm going to scope it and show you what it looked like. Now with this, I really didn't change the frequency of the 555, but because of the LC, it changed the frequency at the output. So this is what it looked like at the output. The frequency is 3.39 kilohertz. So it's really interesting. And that tone is really annoying, high pitch, and it's really one shouldn't be driving this like this. Really need a proper inductor to use this. I want it to be at the resonant frequency. I measured the plates capacitance. It's 20 nanofarad. I don't know what the inductor is, but really annoying. So I'll have to figure out how to resonate this at, say, 23 kilohertz. But anyway, the 555 cannot drive the piezo directly and expect it to repel pest. It doesn't work. It won't work. It needs to have a buffer, a MOSFET or a transistor, and then an LC circuitry, or maybe even a transformer, a small transformer. Gotta find a transformer. Try that. But one could make this thing, but need to have proper components, or the right component, right inductor, to resonate properly. I think because it originally was at 22.7 kilohertz, and with the inductor it changes the frequency. It probably is resonating at 3.3 kilohertz. It's working somewhat, not at the frequency I need. So using a different inductor, the frequency had changed to 5.3 kilohertz. That's 5.3. Yeah, so one has to have the proper inductor to bring the frequency up to ultrasonic. So I can actually feel the vibration. So that's what I was expecting initially. So when you buy this Pest Repeller from Lazada, there's no way to tell whether it's working. There's really no way to tell if it's even a phony, a fake, unless you really take it apart. And even if it has a circuit, you cannot know whether it's really working, because there are certain expectations one has. So this thing was bought from Lazada. It wasn't working. It wasn't driving the pest away. So actually I broke it. Now it went. The frequency is now back to 22 kilohertz. So what broke? Well, that broke. Disconnected. So I'll update the schematic, add the inductor in parallel with the plate, piezo plate. Also maybe put in the equation for the LC, so one can figure out what to add. But you have to figure out or measure out the capacitance of the piezo, and then buy the appropriate inductor to give you the harmonics. Calculate it to give you harmonics at say 22 kilohertz, and whatever the inductor will be, because the 5x5 is already set to oscillate at 22 kilohertz. So just have to change the inductor to bring the Pest Repeller to that frequency. But really, the LC needs to be driven out, buffered by a MOSFET or a transistor. It can't be driven directly by the 5x5. Although it could, we just don't know how long it'll last like this. It wasn't meant to I don't think the 5x5 is designed to drive LC. But yeah, the dogs are not bothered by the sound, so it's not at the right frequency to drive them batty. So, oh well, just have to figure out how to do this, how to get the right inductor value.